Acapulco de Juarez, commonly called Acapulco, is a city and major seaport in the state of Guerrero on the Pacific coast of Mexico. 380 kilometers south of Mexico City, Acapulco is located on a deep, semicircular bay and has been a port since the early colonial period of Mexico's history. It is a port of call for shipping and cruise lines running between Panama and San Francisco, California, United States. The city of Acapulco is the largest in the state, far larger than the state capital Chilpancingo. Acapulco is also Mexico's largest beach and balneario resort city. The city is one of Mexico's oldest beach resorts, coming into prominence in the 1940s through the 1960s as a getaway for Hollywood stars and millionaires. Acapulco was once a popular tourist resort, but due to a massive upsurge in gang violence and murder since 2014, it no longer attracts many foreign tourists, and most now only come from Mexico itself. It is both the sixth deadliest city in Mexico and the seventh deadliest city in the world. The US government has warned its citizens not to travel there. In 2016 there were 918 murders, and the homicide rate was one of the highest in the world. 103 in every 100,000. In September 2018, the city's entire police force was disarmed by the military, due to suspicions that it has been infiltrated by drug gangs. The resort area is divided into three parts. The north end of the bay and beyond is the traditional area, which encompasses the area from Park Papagayo through the Zocalo and onto the beaches of Caleta and Caltea. The main part of the bay known as Zona Dorada, where the famous in the mid-20th century vacationed, and the south end, Diamante, which is dominated by newer luxury high-rise hotels and condominiums. The name, Acapulco, comes from Nahuatl language Acapulco, and means, where the reeds were destroyed or washed away, or, at the big reeds, which inspired the city's seal, which is an Aztec-type glyph showing two hands breaking reeds. The Juarez was added to the official name in 1885 to honor Benito Juarez, former president of Mexico. The island and municipality of Capul, in the Philippines, derives its name from Acapulco. Acapulco was the eastern end of the Trans-Pacific sailing route from Acapulco to Manila, in what was then a Spanish colony. By the 8th century, around the Acapulco Bay area, there was a small culture which would first be dominated by the Olmecs, then by a number of others during the pre-Hispanic period before it ended in the 1520s. At Acapulco Bay itself, there were two Olmec sites, one by Playa Lagar and the other on a hill known as El Guitaran. Olmec influence caused the small spread-out villages here to coalesce into larger entities and build ceremonial centers. Later, Teotihuacan influence made its way here via Cuernavaca and Chilpancingo. Then Mayan influence arrived from the Isthmus of Tehuantepec and through what is now Oaxaca. This history is known through the archaeological artifacts that have been found here, especially at Playa Honos, Pai de la Cuesta, and Tambuco. In the 11th century, new waves of migration of Nahuas and Quayas came through here. These people were the antecedents of the Aztecs. In the later 15th century, after 4 years of military struggle, Acapulco became part of the Aztec Empire during the reign of Ahazota. It was annexed to a tributary province named Tepecuaquilco. However, this was only transitory, as the Aztecs could only establish an unorganized military post at the city's outskirts. The city was in territory under control of the Yopes, who continued defending it and living there until the arrival of the Spanish in the 1520s. There are two stories about how Acapulco Bay was discovered by Europeans. The first states that 2 years after the Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire, Hernán Cortés sent explorers west to find gold. The explorers had subdued this area after 1523, and Captain Saavedra Cerón was authorized by Cortés to found a settlement here. The other states that the bay was discovered on December 13, 1526 by a small ship named the El Tepache Santiago, captained by Santiago Guevara. The first encomendero was established in 1525 at Cacavatepec, which is part of the modern Acapulco municipality. In 1531, a number of Spaniards, most notably Juan Rodriguez de Villafuerte, left the Oaxaca coast and founded the village of Villafuerte where the city of Acapulco now stands. Villafuerte was unable to subdue the local native peoples, and this eventually resulted in the Yopa rebellion in the region of Coatepec. Hernán Cortés was obligated to send Vasco Poccio to negotiate with the indigenous people, giving concessions. The province of Acapulco became the encomender of Rodriguez de Villafuerte, who received taxes in the form of cocoa, cotton and corn. Cortés established Acapulco as a major port by the early 1530s, with the first major road between Mexico City and the port constructed by 1531. The wharf, named Mark